this just to let you know, Alison, or sorry, Daniel, and take it away.
Okay. So my story is called The Town of Cats. And it's, you know that one. The Town of Cats. So it's about a young man. And this young man, he lived a pretty ordinary, pretty quiet, regular life. You could say a boring life. He worked in an office in a small city, very average on normal place. And he went home each night to the boarding house where he lived, and he quietly read a book. And that was pretty much his whole life. But he had one habit that was exceptional. Every year he went on holiday. And this was his way of going on holiday. He'd pack his suitcase, he'd go to the train station, and he'd just get on a random train. And he'd take that train, and he'd look out the window, and at some point he'd say, I'm going to get off at the next stop. And he'd get off at the next stop. And there he'd stay a while, as long as he pleased, and then he'd go on to the next place on a random train, and he'd do this for a week before heading home. And so one particular year, one particular day, he was on one particular train, and he was looking out the window, and he was observing the countryside, rolling green fields, hills, little rivers, and he spied that the train was heading towards a little village. There was a river running by it with a bridge that led over the river into the town, and there was a clock tower, a bell tower, and he thought, that looks like an interesting little place. I'm going to stop there. So when the train stopped there, he got off, and no one else got off. He left the station. He walked through the town, and as he walked through the town, he observed that there was no one else around. I mean, not a single soul to be seen. Well, everyone must be having a siesta, perhaps, he thought. Well, he found the hotel, and he walked into the hotel, and there was no one at the desk. And, well, he was tired. He wanted to have a lie down, so he just went and found himself a room. It was open, and thought, well, I'll pay later. So he lay down on the bed in the room, and he had himself a good little nap. And when he woke up, it was evening. And down he went, and there was still no one around. He walked through the town. There was still no one around. The shadows were lengthening. He walked, and then he came to the bell tower. And he thought, I'll go up there. I'll take a look, see what I can see. So in he went. Up he went. He reached the top. He looked out over the town, over the countryside, setting sun. And as the sun set, and as he watched, he heard something strange. He heard all this, all these cat-like sounds, and then he saw there come over the bridge into the village a procession of cats. There was big cats, there was little cats, there was tabby cats, there was black and white cats, there were those funny hairless cats, all the kinds of cats in the world, the giant Norwegian cats, the whole lot of them. And they came walking on their hind legs and on their forelegs over the bridge into the town, and through the town they went, and they began to get going for the night. Some of them rolled out the shutters in the shops and opened and displayed their wares. Some of them went up into the town square and they sat down on benches and chatted. A band took out their instruments and began to play funky cat jazz in the bandstand, while others went into their offices, sat down at desks, and saw to administrative matters. All night, the cats went about their business the way people do during the day, and all night he watched in wonder and amazement. And in the morning, they rolled down the shutters, they packed up their wares, they closed their briefcases, their instrument cases, and they went back over the bridge. Wow. The young man thought, well, that was quite something. And he thought, shall I leave today? Yeah, I should probably leave. So he went back to the hotel and he packed up his suitcase, and he was just walking to the train station when he thought, no, that was too incredible. I have to stay, I have to watch and see if it happens again. So that night, He went back up the bell tower, and again, the cats came and they filled the town. And as before, they played their music and they still bought and they sold and they walked and they chatted and wondered and did all the things. And he watched all night just as before. And in the morning, he thought, hey, really, I leave the place. It's pretty strange. So he packed up his suitcase and he went to this train station and he waited. So there was a train due to come. The train came, it arrived, passed by. It's supposed to stop. He looked and saw that there wasn't another train due that day. He was going to have to stay there one more night. And funny, before he'd been really keen to stay, and now he felt that he didn't want to stay, but he had to. So that night, he took up his position on the bell tower again. And the cats, in they came, and they opened the shutters, and they sat down in their offices. They took out their instruments, and they played the cat jazz. And it was the middle of the night. Everything was just as it had been before when down at the bottom of the bell tower, he saw this cat stop and sniff the air. It hissed, its fur stood up, and the other cats around it looked and said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And it said, "I thought I smelt something." "What did you smell?" "I smelt human." And then all of a sudden, these cat noises everywhere. All the cats, their fur was bristling. They were hissing and baring their teeth. All the cats everywhere, and they're sniffing around. And another cat said, "Yes, I thought I smelt a human smell around the bell tower. Let's go." And 3 big cats went into the bell tower. And the man, he hid in the corner. Of course, he couldn't hide. And he waited, and he waited, and he waited. And then around the corner they came. There they were. And they searched the bell tower. The floor he was on. They looked everywhere. They came right up to him. But it was as if they couldn't see him, couldn't smell him. Well, back down they went. And they were very unhappy, and all the cats were very unhappy, but they couldn't find him. So they left as before. And he thought, "I'm definitely getting out of here today." But he went to the train station as before, and he waited on the platform. And the train came. There was another one due later that day, and he waited, and it came, and as he expected, it didn't stop. And he realized that no train was ever going to stop. He realized that he was lost, stuck in that place. And did he ever find a way out? I do not know. That is the town of cats.